One thing that I want to show you here, a couple of interesting points here about lichens, especially for those of you that live in lichens. Anybody know where this is? A lot of those houses are still there. Nobody lives in lichens can tell me. Go ahead. It is close. Yeah, this house is still there. No? That is the Reading Railroad turntable that was just east of the Lichens Library. So where the library is today, that's just on the east. The picture was taken from the embankment over the Reading line. So there were two railroads that came into Lichens. There was the Reading Railroad, which came down right along Route 209. How many of you have ever driven from Lichens up to Tower City? Did you ever look on the left and see that raised ground over there? That was actually the Reading Railroad. Okay. That came the whole way down from Reading and actually went way beyond Reading, almost parallel to 209. This was the Lichens Valley. And what this is the turntable. So when the train came in and they wanted to turn around, they would actually flip the locomotive on that. Now, I once heard from a physics teacher, not Mr. Heath, so if it's not correct, don't blame him. But I could pretty much believe this. What they did was this is kind of like a lazy not a lazy Susan. Yeah, lazy Susan. That it would be greased up that much. That one person could push on the one end and actually flip that whole locomotive around. Okay? Simple physics. Wait, Remington, you think you could do it? Think you could push right here in the end and push it the whole way around? It's pretty impressive when you think about it. Okay? Okay, so this is the Lichens Valley Railroad Bridge, which is over the Reading Bridge. Now, just picture this. This came down from, literally from Tower City, right along Route 209. Okay? And then this was the Lichens Valley Railroad, which came up from Millersburg, and to your left, it would take you up to Wiccanisco and up to Williamstown. So the first shows a Reading train heading east under the bridge, and the other shows a Reading locomotive on the turntable, which we just saw. Okay, so this is coming from Tower City, probably from Reading area. I think this is pretty cool. Now here you can see this, but here they cheated. I guess they have two guys to push it. I just think that's phenomenal. And I'll show you this video here then. Take a look at that. Wait, Bus, you think you could do it? The two of us together could push a whole locomotive around. Okay, so this is the turntable that was at Boyer's. Okay, was for the Lichens Valley, and it had a roundhouse. So there was one for the Reading Railroad, and then there was also a turntable where Boyer's is. And this is the roundhouse there. Okay, so when you see LVRR, that means Lichens Valley Railroad. That's the one that came from Millersburg up to Lichens and ended up in Williamstown. When you get down to Millersburg, they also had a turntable down there too. And you can actually see it. Right here's the turntable. And then this was the locomotive shed. Take a look at that thing. I just think that's phenomenal. To turn that baby around. But this would be right where Boyer's is. Okay? And that was the Lichens Valley Railroad. So there was one for the Reading and one for the Lichens. So here you can get an understanding where this was. Now again, right here, this is where the railroad went right through. Okay? Now what I was showing you was, right here's the library. The turntable was right here. Okay? For the Reading Railroad. And then right over here was the one for the Lichens Railroad, which makes sense because right over here and where this lot is, that's where the train station is. Okay. So take a look at that curve and you can see where the train went right up. Okay, here you go. You see the Lichens Valley Railroad coming from Millersburg up through to Williamstown. And then here's the one that came down. Now notice right along Route 209, you can actually see it there. If you look to the left, okay, Jasmine, if you look down over here to where Dad grew up, okay, you'll actually see it. It's probably in his backyard there, I would bet. Have you ever seen where the railroad came down? Yeah. Okay. So right here was that turnaround, and then the other one was right here at Boyers. Pretty cool. Okay, let's just take a minute, read through this. Gracie, if you would, please.
Reading Railroad, Golden Valley Branch, ended in Likens at the corner of North Market Street and the Wickanisco Creek. It stemmed from the other Reading lines from Huntsville westward to Tremont, Tower City, and then ended at Likens. Residents in the area used the Golden Valley Branch to get to Pottsville.
Okay, so if you wanted to go to Pottsville, you would just come out here, you jump on the train right in here, and up the line you went. Okay. And this is where the Reading land ended, right there at Market Street, where the station was located. That's the roundhouse down in Millersburg. Obviously not round, but that was what they called it because that's where the turntable was, which was round. Okay. And right over here is where this round table was. Actually, right over here. Okay, and again, here's your Likens Valley Railroad coming right up the line. Okay. Likens, I thought this was pretty cool. Take a look at the picture. See the change? Now, obviously, the building on the right has changed quite a bit lately. Okay. Notice once again the layout, the geography, the two creeks, the Wickanisco. Okay. And of course, the rattling. And 209 runs right down the middle. Well, not exactly, but close. You got Dairy Queen, you got the library, Boyers, grocery store. Which actually, if you know where CVS is now, CVS was actually an IGA, a food store, a grocery store. Well, what happened is that closed. And until they put Walmart in, there was really no place to get groceries unless you went either down to the Y store, which was there, or up to Likens. Okay. So Boyers, although every time I go in there, it never seems empty. I think they're doing a good business. Actually, was hammered a lot more. Okay. How about this? Those of you that live in Likens, can you recognize where this is? Anybody? Gracie, Ken? What do you see on here, Gracie?
The square where Boyers is, and there's also a top star there.
You said there's also a what here?
The top star. That's by Boyers gas station.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And that'd be right up here. Okay. And then Boyers would be here, which was actually Don's Food right before. And then back here's your square. Okay. Here's the hotel. And then the Glen would be over here. Okay, good. Let me move on here. Okay, let me give you a couple of details here. Likens certainly was founded because of the coal industry. That I definitely want you to know. I do want you to know that Isaac Free actually bought the land. For $65.97. Likens is 180 acres. Thought that was pretty interesting. About $66 for 180 acres. Afterwards, this land was actually bought by none other than Simon Gratz. Who bought it? Simply put, because it was a coal town. Now, there's a lot of detail there. I'm not worried about all of it. But Likens is 180 acres, $65.97. And just make a note there, that was Isaac Free. Okay, let's take a look at this picture. Love this picture. This was 1888. Okay, and right here's the railroad coming into Likens. Okay, so the mountain's back here. Over here is where the Glen is. Okay, right here's the railroad, which came right up through and actually went right up here to, well, this was the biplane railroad that went right up into, what's this area right up here? The Bear Gap. Okay, the main line went this way, right up to Williamstown. Big Lick Mountain, Short Mountain over here. And here's, of course, where the coal pile was piled up. And right over here was what they called Polish Row. Okay. Again, kind of pronounced. You can see the Wickinisco Creek. And then over here, the Rattling Creek. Right over here, actually. Okay. Pretty cool. Love that picture. Okay, there you got Market Street. What do you see in that picture? Anybody notice anything? There's something in the picture that's no longer there. It has to do with the road. Well, 70, you see something else. That's fine. There's other things.
I don't know if it's like where I'm thinking of. Like, I don't know if it's exactly. I don't know.
Good. The trees, yes, have been removed. Which actually, I think there's an ordinance in Likens. They don't want you to plant the trees because when they get big, the roots destroy the sidewalks. That's what happened in Elizabethville. There's something else. It has to do with the road. Okay, no marking. I'll give you that. There's something else. Good. Yeah, you see the monument right in the middle, which I don't actually know what that is, but that was the turnaround. There was no red light, no traffic light. So that was actually where you just, it was kind of like a turnabout. Okay. And you stayed on, put that on your left. Okay. Stay on the right side of it and you go around wherever you go. If you ever been down to Lingostown, they have one of those. If you're not used to it, it can kind of get confusing. You get stuck on it and just keep going and you don't really know how to turn off because you might hit somebody or when you pull out. Have you ever been in a roundabout? Sometimes it can get a little crazy. Like, okay. This would have been about the 40s, and that was when they were redoing the road and the sidewalk. The reason why I say 40s is because of the truck over here. So pretty cool. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think all these houses are still there. Are they not? And this is looking towards the square. Okay, square's over here. Okay, so pretty cool. Another picture. Again, looking towards the square. There's your Calm Bank, which again, magnanimous, as you can figure out. 2.5 million tons worth. And that's 2.5 million tons, not pounds, which would be in the billions at 2,000 pounds each ton. Okay. Take a look at that. Love that bird's eye picture also. Take a look right here. You see this bridge? And that bridge went over the Rattling Creek. Okay. And we'll talk about Rife and Nestor tomorrow. Okay. Anybody know anybody that works at Rife and Nestor? Yeah? It's not quite as big as it once was, but it's definitely not